putting clothes on an actor, which is not. So, because you create the character and you help the actor to go
Give
inside.
their opinion.
Yes. So I wanted to ask you and to tell the people how a costume designer works from the script to the character.
Yes, the difference between us also, we have many common points, but the difference is that you guys are designing for unknown bodies, for someone. When I'm designing for a real actor, man, woman, they can be old, young, thin, more generous, so it's a little bit more easy because I can design for a real body and see what it's flattering on the body. We are creating. Before I was saying we are creating characters. Now I'm saying we are creating a person. We need to make the character believable. We need to make this Emily believable. I really like to work with a script also, because script give me many ideas and many direction. And after I always like to work with an actor, and I like this dialogue that we have between us. You can put everything you want on mannequins, on models, and they are not giving their opinion. They like it or they don't like it. It's a model. I'm working with actors, and I need to help the actor to build his character, her character, and make it believable and comfortable. And the process of the fitting, it's a very intense moment. It's very intimate also, because you have a person who needs to slip into an unknown character, to go out from his comfort zone and forget who he is in his real life, forget what he likes, and just be open and open-minded to embrace another wardrobe, another closet, some neurosis, some details that in his real life maybe he won't wear. So you are part of this process, and you are, how do you say in English, a witness of this process. And sometimes it's painful and it's long, sometimes it's short and very funny, but you are part of a dialogue. And everything is for the screen. You need to build that. You need to match your vision with a director vision, and you have the script also. And many times I said, I don't say we are going to do a fitting. I said, let's go to the lab, because we are experimented. Sometimes it's not the good direction. Sometimes you have many directions you need to find or try to find with your actor and after the director, which is the good direction. And the more important thing is that your actor needs to feel comfortable. You need to gain his trust. You need to understand when and where you can push the boundaries most far away. So that's why we can have now this kind of series as Emily, as Euphoria, as Wednesday, because it's a really creative process and it's a constant dialogue. And our job as costume designer, it's 80% psychology and a tiny bit of creativity. But we have the help of a script that is the base of the process. So every time when I have a new script, I read it and immediately I have a vision or wish. And I always start sitting at a cafe and in a terrace and watching people. So in the airport, I always go 1 hour, 2 hours before, because I'm watching people of the address and try to imagine what are their story. And that it's very inspiring me. And I do also watch a lot of runways, and I try to understand what is the shape of the year, what is the trend, what is the color, the details, and avoid the trend. Because this kind of series, you need to design a timeless fashion, you need to invent your own fashion. You guys, maybe you need to as you need to provoke the desire. Maybe you need to show people what they will love to wear, even if they don't know that. You need to say, okay, that is the pieces that you need and you will love to wear it. And sometimes it's you succeed and sometimes no, because maybe sometimes you are one step behind the wish of the moment. For me, I need to build a character, be as far away as I can from fashion, from the current fashion of the moment. And in 10 years, we're supposed to see this kind of series without putting a precise date on. So I don't know if I succeed, but I try hard to do that. And to try to find also details or statement that I don't want to say nobody do before, because in fashion everybody has done everybody. That it's the point. It's fashion. It's you repeat decades after decades things, but you need to try to find something to make your series and your project and your DNA and your personality different than other ones. So it's a long answer. I know I talk too much.
You have to talk, not us. Saki, so you want to ask something?
Yes.
I wanted to ask you something more technical. How difficult is to work for these productions, like for Netflix or these US productions? Is there any differences from the European productions?
I don't think. I think at the beginning, it's your job stays the same, and you need to give a lot of energy. Of course, when you are working with and for like an American company, for instance, they have another way. In Europe, we are more artisan, handcraft, and in the United States, it's an industry, but that makes us stronger, because I discovered also that in American team there are a lot of people to do what in Europe we can do with less people. We have different skills. We know how to sew, how to cut, how to iron, which is not necessarily the case in United States.
How many hours you work?
You really want to know?
Yeah.
So when I start a project, it's like I don't say that is the case for everybody, and I don't recommend that to everybody. But when I embrace a project, yes, I work a lot. That means 15, 70 hours a day, because your brain at some point just focus on what you are doing. You are thinking, dreaming, eating. You are here physically, but you are not here. Your brain is still thinking about another idea, another step, what you can do. So you don't have, I don't have a social life. It's like becoming a nun, almost, you know. You don't want to see your friend because you don't want to lose time and energy, and this energy, that it's me, I'm work alcoholic, we can say, but it's the case of a lot of designers too, and I think that talent without a lot of work, it's not enough. You need to be passionate, you need to be 100% to your project, and it's how you can go further all the time and say, okay, it was nice, now it needs to be spectacular. When you deliver a costume and set, you don't have time to say, oh, it was beautiful, I'm so happy. No, you need to go for the next round and see, okay, it was good, and now I need to do better. And it's always very challenging, because there is many designers, and you need to find the way to be different from other ones. Like you need always to make the difference. It's that, and to reinvent yourself also. That is the common point that we have. We need to reinvent ourselves and new concept every time. So that it's difficult, and that's why I ask for many tolerance with for our job, our creative job, because people can say, oh, this collection was just ugly. So in one world that just break and just destroy hours, day of hard work, of stress, of creativity, of we are giving what a very deep and intimate part of our life of creativity when we are exposing ourselves. And art is difficult and criticism is very easy. So we need to be really strong to handle that. I'm lucky because I don't read and I have the chance that as I'm not selling anything, I don't have to listen to the critics, and that makes me stronger as much as I can make critic about Emily in Paris. That doesn't affect me at all because it's my point of view. If you don't like it, just don't watch it. That it's my point of view, that it's the way I think it should be designed. So if it's make your eyes bleeding, I'm so sorry for you, but you can switch and see the pop singer, I don't know. So, but yes, we need to stay very, very strong and to really believe in what we are doing. We just need to disobey and don't think. We need to think out of the box, and that will make the difference. Even if it's painful for me, for you, every day sometimes I say nothing look well, or I don't find the perfect skirt with the jumper. It takes me hours. We are not throwing clothes on people. We are trying to make something interesting because fashion is fleeting, but the style is forever. So it's difficult, but it's what we really enjoy, and it's something very passionate. If you won't be passionate, you won't be here, I guess.
Yes, exactly.
Think. I wanted to talk about something you told us yesterday, some very funny stories, because something that really captured us about the costume designers was the skills they have. They have a lot of skills. They know a lot about fashion. They know a lot about architecture, about economics, budgeting and everything.
Budget, yes.
And they have a lot of skills as problem solvers because they have to be problem solvers. So I remember the story of the ties. You told yesterday that you had to purchase a lot of ties for one tie.
Yeah.
Can you tell this?
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
So I did a lot of movie in my life and series too. I did period movie, contemporary movies, and I did also action movies. And it's in action movies that I really learn a lot, and I encourage everybody to learn and to be curious of everything. So I decided one day, and I did two. I was a costume designer assistant, and we did Taken 2 and Taken 3 in Colombiana, who are far away from Emily in Paris, but I really loved to do this kind of action movies, and every detail is very important because we have the sound, we have some fabrics that we can use because they are too noisy for the microphone. Some fabric who are not easy for CGI, for the guy who is putting impact on the clothes, who are not easy to work with. And in Taken 2 or Taken 3, it was in Taken 3, we are used to work with a French sound engineer, Stéphane Buchet, special thanks to you, who is very, very precise and very professional. So is as we are filming with direct sound, I think we call that direct sound, yeah. So every fabric has a different sound, and sometimes it's very like the microphone later. It's very disturbing for him because we can't, reshoot, or we can have the actors going in recording room and make again the movie. So we were in Los Angeles, and I purchased for one tie. It was for Forest Whitaker. I purchased like 10, 50 ties, and I sent the ties in a recording laboratory where Stefan was with a microphone, and he tried all the fabrics, all the tie fabrics, and at the end we decide on one tie, because the one was the tie who was the less nosy, and this kind of details you learn. So I learn a lot with this kind of action movies, and I'm keeping that because my job can make an impact on someone other jobs. So I try to make the life of everybody easier as we can. So it's with this kind of details to understand that yes, some fabrics are making noise. If I put a very high color, I need to tell the person in charge of hair and air that okay, which kind of hair or hairdo you can do, and let him know we need to anticipate, and really we need to work as a team. That is the interest, and a beautiful costume without a good hair and makeup can look like something cheaper. So we need to be, and you need to be curious and see what your colleague are doing, and hair, makeup, sound, light. It's very important because you need to go with your DP, your director of photography, and ask him which kind of light he would do, which kind. And before, when we didn't have HD, when we were shooting in Fuji, in Kodak, long time ago, in the dinosaur time, when I started this job, yes, you needed to understand also which kind of because Polaroid, Kodak, Fuji has different qualities, and you needed to understand and to learn about this kind of thing. So as much as you can, you need to learn, and after it will stay, and it's part of your experience, and that it's what makes you different and richer with experience, and have another point of view.
The other story with the blood.
Ah, yes. And I learned also that not every fabric are very easy to break for the CGI guys. When we did that before, now I think everybody can be in CGI, in what do you say, in post-production. Yeah, before we really needed to break the fabric and to put blood behind the fabric, and with some power, like everything could explode at the right moment. So yes, I learned also that some synthetic fabrics are really hard to break, because they're doing with a knife and a cutter, they're doing very little point like that, and make the fabric very, very thin and very easy to, with a little bomb behind, to explode. So my English is quite terrible when I need to talk about technical stuff. Sorry, thank you for the translation. But yeah, so I learned a lot that if I decide to put something very synthetic, it will take forever for him, and maybe the result won't be good. And with this kind of big production, you can fail. Failure, it's not an option. So you need to think about the special effects guy and try to make solution with them to make them successful also, because it's 100% on set who are waiting to have, you know, the impact, and to follow on the next scene. So every detail, it's very important.
Yeah, this was just to say that the costume designer not always just put the clothes on actors or actresses, or go from showroom to showroom.
And it's not, sometimes it's not fashion, and sometimes you need to dress and sometimes you need to dress a taxi driver. That's why in my team we are 2 for the moment, because we can find buyers. So in France, in United States, in London, it's very difficult to find buyers. Buyer, it's a job that exists at the beginning more in United States than in France, because we used to do everything, but now it's a real job, and it's really a real job. We need to be because with so many costumes, you need to have someone who buy them. You can think about the concept, but you need to have someone to buy the clothes and to find them. In Emily in Paris, we are only two, and I'm working with Daniela, who is working with me since 10 years, because it's difficult to explain to someone what do you want. And many times when I think it's the same for you when you are looking for fabrics, why suddenly you decide this fabric rather than another blue fabric? It's because it's give you emotion, or you think that the forms of the texture of the fabric would be the better. So that it's difficult to explain to someone at the beginning who don't have experience. So I try to find buyers with people who are doing styling, and it was difficult because in styling you always and only work with models, so with the size 34, 36, and when you have someone in a normal size or in a different size, people are losing track and freaking out because they don't know how to dress a different body. I don't want to say normal body because a body who is not from a model. Sometimes you have to do a taxi driver, you have to do your neighbor who is 72 years old and who is a housewife. So it's difficult to teach, and my mission, and I think some other costume designer mission, it's to try to train people. It's reflection. What we are doing, it's not doing shopping. We are not, because many people say, oh, costume design, it's funny, you are doing shopping all the day. Yes, you are shopping all day long, but you need to shop with a concept, with a story. You need to think about the body that you are supposed to dress, and every choice has a reason. Who believe that choice don't have a reason are wrong. Costume make the man, and if the costume is accurate, if it's the right costume, you don't need to put subtitle. The actor, the character, when he goes inside a room, you need to know exactly immediately who is he or who is she. So training people to be buyers, they are the new star of our profession, because we can find, and it needs long years of experience, like to be a tailor. Everybody can cut, but to cut super well, it's very difficult. So there is, with this kind of platform and new series, all the jobs, little by little, who are emerging and that we are creating. So it's not easy, but there is chance, and there is a lot of jobs. So it's you can create I think now with this kind of platform, you can create new jobs, and I know that you are giving ideas for company. You know that before we didn't think about that. It's a very interesting. I think it's a very interesting period of time, because things are really moving, and the frontier between fashion, movie industry are now very, very moving and very different, and it's super interesting to see how it works now. Yeah.
Yes, journalist loves numbers. So I wanted to, because we have some journalists, in an interview for People magazine you told that you listed 14,000 pieces for season 3 of Emily in Paris.
Yes.
Can you give us some numbers of costumes or?
Yes, we on season 3, because it became bigger and bigger. This is a show who became bigger and bigger, and we have much more scene who required different costume, because as you can see, maybe she's crossing the street with a bag, a jacket, a costume, shoes, jewel that we can reuse, because it's like that. We know that audience love to see the show for costume also, so we need to entertain people. So yes, we never recycle anything. Even for the men, now they start to be as diva, the lady, and they say, no, I don't want to wear the same costume anymore. So let's go and shop. So yes, on season 3 we had 40,000 pieces, because Emily is changing 40 times, I think. Or 40 times, yeah, 40, huh?
43.
43? Ah, yes, maybe. It was a Prosecco, maybe. Yes, 43, yes. And, yeah, and yes, and it's a huge impact for me, for the brands also, and I gave me a mission, because this project gave me a worldwide visibility. It's like that. I did beautiful movie that nobody saw, with very good costume, because my style, I have this style since a long time, but it's one time you correspond to, you are at the right place at the right moment and meet the right person. So I was very lucky to be chosen by Patricia Field. And so my mission, because I don't know, I wake up one morning and I say, yes, if I have this visibility now, which is not huge, but a little bit, I need to promote and to give the same visibility to the young designer, because I discovered that, yes, it can change, maybe not an entire life, but giving this visibility, that means all the clients. And because we are living with the social media, I discovered, because brands told me that also, that being in this series means for your community that what you are doing, it's good, it's interesting. I'm not the Pope, I'm not a guru, I'm not a fashion guru, I'm not an influencer. I'm just choosing clothes because I think they are good and perfect for the story that I want to tell. But it has an impact, and so it's. I think it's a nice and heavy mission, because sometimes it's very sad to say to someone, even I've really loved the job, it doesn't correspond with one of my character. It's not that your job it's not interesting. It's just that it's not part of the aesthetic that I'm doing in this series. So it's very difficult, and I don't want to hurt anybody. But sometimes, even if I like and if I will love for my real life, it doesn't correspond with the series. So keep the faith. It's not because you are in this series that what you are doing it's not good. It's just that we need to have the character and the scene. And I never had the script before, so it's very difficult to anticipate.
So we don't know if Emily and Gabrielle we're going to. No.
Who knows? I think it's the never-ending story.
It's a spoiler.
I'm like you. I don't know.
I wanted to ask you, not to ask you, but just to talk about something, because people tend to consider costumes just the period costumes or sci-fi costumes. So everybody are like, oh my God, they are beautiful costumes. But contemporary costuming, it's quite difficult, maybe more difficult than doing period or sci-fi. Can we talk about this? For example, Emily can seem so easy to do, but it's quite difficult to do something like Emily, for example.
I think so.
Yeah, why?
I don't know. I think contemporary movie and project are much more difficult than period movie. I don't say period movie it's easy, but for period movie you have many iconography. You can go to the museum, you can see that in 1930 the shape it's like that, color are like that, the hem this large, etc., etc. After, of course, you can reinterpret the period, but it's quite you don't have a lot of choice if you are doing a 18th century movie or 13th movie. In contemporary movie, as everybody every day are dressing himself, are doing the shopping for himself. Everybody thinks that it's very easy, but it's not. So we are design of what doing as I do. Contemporary movie are never rewarded because only in the United States, I should say, that they have a special award for contemporary project. In France, for instance, I don't know how is it in Italy, never one contemporary project was rewarded because, in our big family of costume designers who are doing only period pieces, think that, oh, what is your job? It's the fashion houses. I send you the pieces, so you are just putting a total look on your actor. So even my colleague doesn't want to realize of difficulty it can be. And I'm really happy with the success of Wednesday Euphoria, because I think and I really hope the mindset of the people can change a little bit, and will discover that, as I said before, we are not choosing everything. If it's 10 t-shirts, we need to find the right t-shirt, the right shape. First, the right shape, flattering on the actor, and after the right shape for the story. And that it's part of also of my mission. I have two missions, promote a contemporary project, because yes, it's very rewarding, but difficult also, and give visibility to young designers, sustainable upcycling, recycling couture pieces. So we have big mission, but we have a lot of energy and passion. So I hope, and I'm sure we will succeed to do that.
Another question. Where do the costumes go after the production is wrapped, is finished? There's a lot of people asking about this.
They're going to heaven. When it's loaned, when fashion houses loan us costume pieces that go back to their owner, the pieces that I'm buying from vintage shop or whatever brands are locked in a secret place. Yes.
You will not tell us.
I even don't know where they are. In a place in Paris, I don't have the keys, either the code, and the production keep them. I don't know if they want to keep them for an exhibition or for auction, or maybe both. I don't know. But I know that this week in New York there is a Sex and the City exhibition for the 25th anniversary of Sex and the City. So they're doing an exhibition, and now in Los Angeles there is an exhibition of 10 outfits that Emily was wearing during season 3, because we are competing for the Emmys award. Yes, we need luck, and if not, it's the same for me. Of course, it's always rewarding to win something, but my energy and the fun that I have in this series, it's the same with or without a prize. But it will be important for the people in Europe to understand that this kind of project means something for people and for the profession.
And Valentina?
Last question, because yesterday. No, do you want another?
Yes,
We
after I
have
want
Yeah,
question.
we give space to the people. We were talking yesterday that you are desperately seeking for costume buyers.
Yeah.
So there are many students here, fashion students. So
Yeah.
just to understand that working on a set doesn't involve to be a costume designer, but you can be a lot of other things.
Yeah, you can
For
start
example,
by that.
costume buyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I discover also that many interns that I have are disappointed because they imagine that they will sit with me and design with me, or I don't know what they have in mind, honestly. So now I'm much more careful when I am hiring people, because I don't want them to be disappointed or to have ideas that it's not what I'm requiring. I'm hiring people who come from a very different, not especially fashion school. They can be a photographer. I have an intern who was from architecture. For me, it doesn't matter. It's just the person, the energy that he has, the curiosity, the wish that he or her has to understand and to learn. So it can come from different backgrounds. So you can, yes, you will be, or you are dreaming to be a fashion designer, but you can also start by be a buyer, because now we are requiring a lot of those very rare person. But also you will learn. I think every experience make you stronger, make you different, and make you richer. So you can start by that, by buying clothes, creating character. Because after, honestly, when you make a look and you can see that on the screen, yes, it's a nice. I think it's the same when you are designing for runway. Of course, you get emotional, and you can learn your job, and every way. There is a sentence, every way goes to Rome. So maybe it's also a way to be fashion designer, starting by be buyers, and maybe you will discover that finally designing from sketch, it's difficult, and you can design also and build and create a character with using clothes from anybody else, and you can have the same emotion. So I don't know, just be open and try to also find a different way to learn and to have another experience. I don't know. I have this kind of thought, but maybe, as I said, I'm not a guru, so do what you want at the end.
So we can open the Q&A?
Yes, for sure.
Ok, let's open the Q&A. Se avete delle domande da fare, chi ha delle domande da fare? Lucia.
Lucia.
So even if it's easier to say negative things, in the life in general, no, it's always easy to say I don't like you or whatever. Now I want to say, I don't know why, but you are very inspiring. So I don't have a question, but I really want to say to you that. So thank you, because I see your light, and
You want me to cry?
No,
Cry in front
I don't know.
of everybody.
I want to cry too, because I think, okay, here it's about job, something about job, that work, about,
Yeah.
But I think you show to everybody that it's more than a job. It's something
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
It is important to put together these two things. So a little bit of heart and a little bit of brain, and I think everybody should work like you, with the brain, with the heart together. So just congratulations. I want to tell you now, because now I have to go to physiotherapy, so so just to say hi and congratulations.
Thank you, Lucia. Really appreciate it.
Grazie Lucia, ciao.
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 Ciao a tutti, grazie.
Hello.
It was super nice.
Yeah, cheese.
Yes.
Chi altro
Domande?
vuole chiedere
No,
qualcosa?
no, sí. Yes,
Te la hago en
amore.
español.
Sí.
I'm sorry, I speak Spanish, so I prefer Spanish.
Yeah.
¿Qué diferencia hay hacer una película en blanco y negro o un proyecto en blanco y negro y uno a color?
Should I answer in Spanish or in English? English. So it's very particular to design for a black and white movie, because as you don't have colors, you need to have contrast at least. So you really need to work for colors as if your project was or will be in color, but really take care of textures and contrast. Because if it's too pale, it will look gray and really without relievo, and it won't be so much interesting. It's very difficult to work for black and white. So now we are lucky because we have a cell phone and we can switch the color. So make your own taste. Before, when I did a short movie in black and white, and we didn't have before cell phone, so we needed to take picture to bring la pellicule, I don't know, to the lab and to the film to the lab and wait. It took forever before, and see what was the result. So now we can do that very immediately, and it's very nice. But yes, contrast, texture. Also use fabric with a little bit of shiny, because it will take the light in a very different way. Like when you are in the runway, sometimes when it's more silky or with a little bit shiny, it takes very well the light, and it's beautiful on the screen. It's beautiful for the eyes. That's why I don't love so much linen, because it doesn't fold very nicely, it doesn't move very nicely, it doesn't get any shiny from the light, so it's a little bit plain on screen. I don't say we are not talking about real life, but for the screen there is some fabric for more less flattering to use. But I have two dreams: make a more than that, but black and white movie and musical comedy. I would love to do that. That they sing, they dance, very kitsch, glitters. I hope black and white can be nice. Every time when it's difficult, you can learn. So I really like to have this kind of challenge, because it obliges you to think out of the box and to find solution. When we did Valerian, it was in 2050, we didn't know anything about LEDs and fabrics with LEDs, etc., or with shine, and we needed to find people who can do that, and we needed to have many lights on costume and with people who were moving, and think about which kind of light we can put, because you need to wash the costume after. So it was 6 months of investigation. It was the best time of my life doing these kind of things, because I didn't want it to be biased in this project, because Miu Miu Prada, I know exactly what they are, but to learn very technical and not so easy things, because it was science fiction movies. So we had mocap suit. I didn't know what was a mocap suit, what was tracking points, how do you fit a mocap suit, where do you buy a mocap suit. So it was complicated at the beginning, but I learned a lot. For having a light in costume, I needed to investigate with a light engineer, to try to understand what there was asking, telling with a very technical word. But I learned a lot, and every day I was super happy. I didn't buy any pair of high heels, but I learned a lot of technical things is very helpful for me right now. And when we needed to print in 3D the body of Lily, I said, okay, we are going to do what we did in Valerian. It's to have a body in a screen in 3D and print in 3D a body, and we can work with the mannequin of Lily, because she's here. When I do a feeling with her, it's only 2 days for 10 episodes, so be able to have an exact replica of a body, it's you win a lot of time. But that it was easy. I could do that 2 phone calls because I had the experience before. So we can learn.
Domanda?
Alien mass?
Yes, question. Ciao Dominique.
How do you
Pardon.
How do you mirror and create the aesthetic of the character in the show?
How? It's a good question. I don't know. I think I'm very inspired by my.
I think I'm very inspired by my own experience and by the way of I dress myself also. My background, I study and I graduate as a textile designer. So every plain fabric, every solid fabric make me nervous. When it's not printed, I'm freaking out. So that's why I use a lot of texture, print patterns and color in all my design, because solid, you know, if everybody was in black in the series like Beautiful Valentina, I won't be there, and it will be a very political and correct and correct series. So I try to escape. I'm driven by my vision, my passion, by what I like, and I don't pay attention to what it's fashion, not fashion, what it's politically correct, what the other one do or is doing. I do, and I'm really in a bubble. When I started to design a Made in Paris, I was in a bubble. I didn't realize, and nobody can think that it would be a success. And every season we can be not successful at all. But I don't want to live with the pressure of is the audience are going to enjoy the next season. If you start to think about what people will say and will think, you can have some kind of panic attack, and don't free your mind as you need to free it. So I just do what I like to do. I love prints, I love colors, I love romantic comedy, and I mix everything and I let my imagination goes, and I try to make people looking beautiful and interesting to look at. And because I know that style will remain, and more is more and less is a bore. And I always, my mojo is to be one step ahead something, and to reinvent me every season. And as Diana Ridland, that I really loved a lot, say, everybody needs to, it's good to have a splash of bad taste. It's like in food when you put a splash of paprika, you know, it's healthy, it's tasty, and it makes a little difference. So don't be afraid. I don't care about what other people can do or can think. Yes, maybe it's tacky, maybe it's too much, maybe it's whatever. But if it's your style, just be driven by your own style, your own personality, and don't care about what other people do or think. Just free yourself, and that is the lesson that I learned, and why I think people love so much this series, because it's just a manifesto of free yourself, free your mind. If you like to wear glitters at 10 a.m. in the morning, where is the fashion police in your house who prohibits you to wear that? If you like a leopard, a tiger print, go for it, girl. Go for it, and be happy. Life is too short to wear boring clothes, I think.
Domande?
You miss everything.
I
My
know,
best
I'm
part
sorry.
was before.
I was flying. Oh, but the last line was very good though.
I can do it again. No worries.
Hi,
Hi.
I would like to know what's your favorite outfit that you have created for Emily?
It's like to ask a mother what is a favorite child.
I love them both. Some more than other one because some are more for me. I push the boundaries much more, but and I'm not the kind of person who say, "Oh, I'm a genius. It's perfect. It's so." No, I said that was bold, and I need to be to do something different. I really love when I succeed to have by one outfit. Vintage piece, contemporary young designer, high brand, and sometimes fast fashion. I know we are all against fast fashion, but fast fashion is part also of our life. And a girl in Kentucky, in downtown LA, or in the city where I was born, wish to have something from the show, something that she will like to wear. And I want to design thinking also of these people. I come from a very little town, and why I love vintage is because my parents didn't have a lot of money, and so I was very into vintage or recycling clothes because I don't want to show to people that we were poor or really ordinary people, and I knew that you can tell story with clothes and you can be something different. You can be who you want to be just with the clothes that you are wearing. So it's also a way of communication, a very powerful way of communication, and you can create your own personality. There is no fatality in life. Okay, you come from a shitty place, your parents couldn't afford. Okay, find solution, find a way to express who you are. And I was lucky because my grandmother didn't throw away anything from the 50s. She had an attic. So I was 8 years old and I spent times in an attic and I tried clothes on. And I was 16, I go to the college with high heels, pumps, with a 60s jacket and matching skirt, and people were laughing at me, but I feel incredibly. So I didn't care. I was different, and not with a tag. She come from this town, and so I was creating my own life. And clothes allows you to do that, and it's escapism.
Yes.
You can escape with that. That was a tough one. Yes, you can escape with clothes, and be someone else every time you want. So that's how I start doing this job, because I was at this time. You can imagine when I born in the 60s, we didn't have television, we didn't have cell phone, iPhone, phone, and no way to have culture. So you need to find a way to dream, and I remember in the French television at this time for New Year's Eve, you have a program. It was the Moulin Rouge, and the leader with glitter, feather, etc. So I was 8, and I said, oh, I want to be part of this world where there is huge jewels, feather, glitters. Where women were a little bit naked, but it's fantasy. It was something very different, and that was the first aesthetic shock that I had. That's why I love so much feather and glitter, because it comes from my first aesthetic shock when I was a kid, and that pushed me also to say, no, I don't want to stay here. I want to go there where there is this very funny and brilliant and glamorous world. So that was the beginning of the beginning at this moment, precise moment.
Thank you, sir. Effie and then
Grazie.
Hello.
Hello.
I want to ask, I'm curious to know if in any scene an actor is opposed to a an outfit that you choose from him. For example, they say it's not for me. I'm not suited in my way to be dressed like this.
Drink your water.
Yes.
That if it does to happen, it will happen before. It will happen when we are in feelings. That's why we make feelings. And as I said before, I'm not going, when I'm working with an actor, I'm not saying, okay, let's do a fitting. I said, let's go to the lab and let's experiment. So if I have a vision or a direction, and I have, that's why I'm paid for, I'm always listening to what the actor has in mind, and I need to be open-minded and change my direction if he thinks it's not the good one, or I'm allowed me to try his direction, and we will both see if it's good enough, if it's the good direction, if it's another direction, or what is the best direction. We are working for the screen. It's not question of ego at this moment. I'm just the part of his work in progress. I need to try to help him, and I'm trying to help him to build his character, to make him believable. And I'm really open to everything. And an actor needs to be comfortable, and by experience, if he has a doubt, when he's one doubt, there is no doubt. So if you say, okay, I like it, but I never put, I did that when I was young, and I said, okay, I'm going to manage this situation. No, you're not going to manage this situation, because 10 minutes before be dressed, they say, oh, no, I can't go out from the trailer, and you can't do that. You can make people lose one day of shooting. So, and it's a dialogue, you know, and I'm happy to have this conversation, to have this, because you need to listen to them. And when a character say to me, I don't think, or it's too much for my character, or I don't feel it, I'm listening to them, because they are living also with their character for 6 months. So at some point, they know better than me, because they are the character. They are feeling, thinking also as is the character. So it's very interesting to be part of this process, and everything is for the screen and their comfort at the end. So yes, sometimes I say, okay, I don't understand the clothes, and if they are not understanding what they are wearing, it doesn't work. So I'm not here to oblige people, you know. It's a working together process. I'm here to help them, you know. So of course it's happened, and sometimes I really love the pieces, and I say okay. And sometimes, and that it's much more American. They say, okay, I don't like it, but I'm gonna try it. And when they try, sometimes they say, okay, I changed my mind. You were right. And sometimes they say, no, it really looked bad. So it's no hard feeling. It's part of my job and the process, and I really enjoy. It's one of my favorite moments. It's not the set. It's just the process. It's just the feeling, because you are building, and sometimes it's so evident. In 10 seconds, you have the character. I remember I did a movie. Paradise Lost with Benicio del Toro. It was about Pablo Escobar life, and in 10 seconds we had the character. He was Pablo Escobar, so it was 10 seconds, and sometimes it takes longer, and you don't know why, at which moment the magic will happen or not. So that's why sometimes it's painful, and sometimes you need to do 1 or 2 fittings, but to take the time. I always take time, and if the actor is available only on Sunday or at midnight, I will do that, because you need also to be there for them. and to help them. It's a very intimate and very interesting moment, the feeling. So on set, and you need, with this kind of platform, every outfit needs to be validated by the production designer, the showrunners. That is something that we don't have in movies, but every costume on this series, beautiful or ugly, was approved before.
From the showrunner?
Absolutely.
Why? Wow.
Yeah. Who is also the scriptwriter.
Darren?
Yes.
My question is, how do you see your work in the future, and which is the imprint that you would like to leave in this world?
100 years.
I feel very old suddenly. How I imagine, I really hope to keep the passion that I have for this job that I'm doing since 32 years now. I hope that I can be so genuine and so sometimes too much enthusiastic, I think, but and be able to express or to have the luxury to work with projects who push me in my boundaries, push me to think in a different way. It can be period, it can be contemporary, I don't know, but I really want to keep the same energy that keeps me young in my head when my body is falling apart. But I really wish that, and to be lucky enough to meet interesting people and interesting director who allows me to be part of their universe. I'm not crazy to be an influencer or this kind of thing, so that doesn't interest me at all. You know, it's not what I like in life, be a star or have 2 billion followers. That it's not what I wish to have, but to be able to help young generation and to transmit what I know. So as much as I can, I'm giving talk in different school, even if it's not fashion school, to explain what is my job, and maybe people will be interested in it. And when people are interested, I try to help them, to coach them, to teach them, and to spend time discovering new people, new personality, and everything I know. And I discovered that I knew a lot with all my years of experience, and just to be able to share that. It's my only wish for the future, with the black and white movie and the musical comedy and costume buyer, yes. So.
Okay. So,
Yes.
l'ultimissima però, perché poi non abbiamo tempo.
Hello, I'm
Hello.
Maggie.
Ciao Maggie.
I wanted to know which was the most difficult job, character that you did,
In this series?
and why, and how did you manage the situation eventually?
In Emily in Paris?
In general, and also in Emily in Paris.
Okay.
Thank you.
So in Emily in Paris, for me, the most delicate, I won't say difficult, but delicate character to design is the chef. It's Gabriel. It's a very beautiful boy, too much beautiful. So you need to find the right balance. It needs to be the boy next door, and it's handsome. So if I put something too designer, too picky, too fashionable, it look too much as a model. So it's the right balance, and at the same time, you can't only throw a t-shirt on him because it's not interesting enough. And as he's a young chef, he needs to show in his very minimalist clothes that he has references, that he's traveling, that he has a point of view, that is sensible to art, music, etc. So the right balance is quite difficult, because or it looks too much as a model, a runaway model, or it looks too boring. So it's very hard to find the right pieces. And I'm not very minimalist in my way of and yes, it took me a lot of time, and I discovered two young designers that I really want to work with on the next season for him, because they're doing this kind of worker clothes, but with a twist and with some details, with a recycling fabric, who can be very nice on him. But sometimes when, and in this kind of series, when it's should be very minimalist, it's really the choice is really precise, and it's difficult to find a clothes who are not too much and at the same time can tell a lot. So that it's but after it's a lovely guy, and we have fun doing these jobs together. But yes, sometimes it's too much, so we try a lot to work with colors. You know, we basically keep the same shapes, but we try to find a color palette a little bit not weird but unexpected for a chef, like a kind of pink, light pink, pale rose, and a special kind of green to make it simple but interesting. Voilà. And after I don't have, and if I had bad memories, I erased. No, it's not important to keep this kind of oh, it was horrible to work with him, with her, etc. Honestly, I succeed to erase everything like that. I keep my energy for more important stuff. But yes, sometimes you have hard client. Yes, or hard director or production difficult to please. But after, I think it's when you give birth, you forget, because you are so happy with the baby.
Yeah. So, I think it's time to give time to the designer.
Yeah, to the designer, yes.
Quindi niente, noi adesso passiamo un po' a quella che è l'altra parte di questo evento, cioè lei incontrerà personalmente i designer che vedete per stabilire proprio un contatto, una collaborazione, insomma, per essere presente nelle prossime stagioni. Ma sì, ha detto sì, ha detto sì, ha detto sì, ha detto sì. You said yes.
Yeah, capisce tutto.
La prendiamo in contropiede. Quindi niente, volevo ringraziarvi di nuovo per essere venuti qua. I wanted to thank Marylin for this amazing opportunity. Ai prossimi incontri.
Grazie.
Grazie.